Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tundalia. Um, and I honestly don't even know how I want to start the video. I'm just going to basically start off and just, go from there. Some of you know that I have 5 kids, but you guys know I have 5 kids, but I only post, pictures with 2 of them, and none of my other 3 kids. I have 4 boys. I have 1 daughter. I lost my kids back in 2015 of November. That was the last time that my kids lived with me, my 3 oldest ones. I lost them because my brother set my son's hands on fire. He poured alcohol on my oldest son's hands. He was 2 at the time. He's now 8 years old. My mom was supposed to be watching my kids for me while I was at work. I was working at the Link Hotel in Las Vegas. When I came home from work, I saw that my son's hands were burned. My mom was not really watching my kids. I had my own apartment. I was living in a 2-bedroom. My mom came and stayed with me. I don't even know how my brother ended up being there or whatever, but she was supposed to be watching them, but instead she was drinking her beers, smoking her weed, doing the same thing that she did while we were kids. So anyway, I was at work, came home, and my son had tissue and gray duct tape over his hands. So I asked my son what happened, and these is literally my son's words out of his own mouth at 2. Mind you, I was on the phone with my ex-husband's mom. We're still married to this day, but we're gonna get a divorce. We don't speak. I was on the phone with her, walking up, so she could talk to the kids. I'm like, what happened? And my son said, my uncle burned me with the fire. My brother was 24 at the time, because I had to be around 25. So me, I've never been through nothing like this. So I got scared. The first thing that came to my mind was CPS, my kids being taken away from me. So I let everything cut off in my house, my electricity, gas, everything, didn't pay the rent. I was young, and, my family didn't teach us stuff as far as rent, credit, and all that stuff. And once I got married, I kind of separated myself from my family anyway, because I had moved from Arizona to Vegas with my kids. So, when I got there, I was on the phone with her. My son told me what happened. The first thing I did was take my kids to Arizona, because I felt like I could trust my husband's mom with my kids, because I couldn't trust my mom, my family, nothing. So they go there. I dropped them off. We talked for a little bit. It was just a turnaround. One of my ex-cousins, she's not an ex-cousin, family friend, we grew up together. Her friend drove me out there because I didn't have a car at the time. She drove me out there to Arizona to take my kids to my mother-in-law. So when I got back to Vegas, They're like, hurry up and come get your kids. Even my husband was doing this. Hurry up and come get your kids, or we're gonna put them on the welfare. Um, just rushing me to come get my kids. So I hurried up and got me a rental car. So now I got me a rental car. I went to go pick up my kids. When I went to go pick them up, came back, I was staying with my aunt at the time. And yeah, they were just rushing me to come get them. I picked them up and came back to Arizona. Um, and then my husband's mom called CPS on me. So um, when she called CPS, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of avoiding them. Um, I just didn't know what to do. Like, I was lost. I didn't have the right support or the right people around me when I was going through that situation. So, I was dating this, the guy that I had my last two kids with. I was dating him. And, well, messing around with him. I won't call it a serious relationship. Um, One day my aunt was like, mind you, I believe I was pregnant. Yeah, I was pregnant at this time with my fourth son. I'm out doing the best that I can. I'm looking for jobs. I'm applying for jobs, hotel jobs, housekeeping jobs, everything while I'm pregnant. I think I'm like 6 months at this time. So my aunt's like, can you leave, my house and just, find somewhere to go, whatever. So I'm like, okay, my feelings was hurt. But mind you, I'm not one to just sit on my ass. Like, I get up and I handle my stuff. It's just harder for most, than others. So I was like, all right, I got my stuff, I got my kids, and I got in a car. And one of the girls who I called my cousin at the time, I didn't want to say anything to nobody because, as a woman and as a mother, sometimes you become kind of prideful. So I was prideful and didn't want to say anything. So me and my kids were just sitting in the car down the street, and I was just like, we're gonna have to sit in the car, and I don't know. Like, we were gonna sleep in the car, but we didn't. I ended up, going to her house with her three kids and her boyfriend. And because the guy that I was staying with at the time, that I was dealing with at the time, he was staying there, who I was pregnant by. So she was like, you could come over here or whatever. I'm just crying because I didn't want to ask nobody if I could stay with them. I didn't want to ask her. So I ended up staying with her or whatever. And it was a lot of abuse and just torture going on while me and my kids were there. And I still, like, beat myself up over that because my kids should have never even been around, what they seen me going through. But I wasn't, no bad mom. My kids were clean. They were well taken care of. They were smart. Said their blessings before they ate. Said their blessings, their prayers before they went to sleep. Knew how to thank God. They knew their colors. They were smart. I was the type of parent to spend time, with my kids or whatever. And, like I said, I'm still avoiding CPS. So, I get a call from the CPS that if I don't come meet with them, my kids are going to be taken away from me. So I'm telling the guy that I was pregnant with at the time, like, if I don't get to, if I don't get to this appointment, they're going to take my kids away from me. We ended up getting into a fight. He took my car. He was sleeping with other women, and picking him up in my car, just, flaunting and stuff, but trying to control me. So, um, I ended up missing the appointment. He was just like, I don't give a fuck if you miss your appointment. I don't give a damn if your kids get taken away from you. This is stuff that he said to me. I called the police, and they were like, well, if you're in a relationship with him or sleeping with him, pregnant with him, whatever, you can't. So I lied and said that he was whipping my ass, even though we was in a domestic situation. This time, I made it seem like, we were fighting and he was at the door. So I was like, I got a doctor's appointment I got to go to. He was like, well, I'm picking you up and I'm taking you. That's how controlling he was. He was like, I'm picking you up and I'm taking you to the appointment. And I'm like, you don't need to go with me. Like, I can go by myself. And he's like, no, so get your stuff and be ready to come outside. So I'm like, okay. So I called the police. Had everything planned out, me and my cousin in the background, making it just seem like, it's just crazy right now. So when they get there, my hair looking all crazy, I'm like, he cut my hair off, just doing the most. But I had to do what I had to do to get out of that situation. So when the police came, he wasn't there yet. So I'm like, so he's finally pulling up, and the police comes. And, the police are already there. He comes, and he's like, yep, this how you doing it? So they make him get out the car. He like, for sure, I got you. So he tried to say, oh, look at me. She left scratches on me. She did this to me. And they was like, she's pregnant, and you're sitting here trying to talk about, what you did to yourself. But he was really trying to tell on me and, get me caught up in some mess. So when I tried to meet with the worker, no, the police remembered me from before of me calling the police on him because we had a domestic violence dispute before. I was supposed to go to a domestic violence shelter that he had got me into, but I never went. So he was like, weren't you supposed to go into the domestic violence shelter? And he was like, you need to go. Like, you need to get you and your kids away from this. So I went. And I spent Halloween with my kids. We took them trick-or-treating. Me and my aunt, the one that asked me if I could leave. I think my mom. Yeah, my mom. We all went trick-or-treating with the kids and stuff. I went to the shelter. It was nice. It wasn't bad. My kids were okay. They were fine. Next thing you know, they called me down to the office at the shelter, and they were like, DCFS found you here, and they want to come remove the kids. And y'all, when I say it's a feeling that even it's a feeling you can't explain. Not having your kids when you do love your kids. So when they came and took them, like, my kids didn't even understand what was going on. They didn't cry. They just got in the van with the lady, and I had a mean social worker. I had a mean worker. Like, she wasn't trying to help me or nothing, man. Like when you really love your kids, that stuff hurts. It really hurts, man. And you ain't got the right people in your corner. My family was trying to dig me in a deeper hole. Like, my auntie was telling me, oh, let's lie and say that such and such is your son, and we'll tell them. We're gonna tell him to say his name is Kair, and that my uncle didn't burn me. Like, they was trying to cover up for my brother so my brother wouldn't get in trouble. So they was just like, let's do that, and then, everything should be okay. And there was so much confusion going on. Like, they was telling me to do one thing, but I was, afraid to get in trouble. So when the worker came, my kids left. They didn't know what was going on. They called my husband because he was living in Arizona. They get in contact with them. We go to court. And he was so mean to y'all. He was so mean to me, y'all. Like, when we went to court, he was so mean to me. Like, and I had my son's godmom and my cousin's baby mom come to court with me for support. Y'all, they looked a mess, just ghetto. Just ghetto. Like, when I tell y'all, like, I did not have the support that I needed, I didn't. So I went to the court, I'm pregnant, and he was just rude to me. So they released my kids to them. At first, I thought I was gonna give get my kids back because the judge was like, get her kids back. They're fine. We know where she is. Because the lady that actually came to support me from the shelter, they knew who she was, so they knew that I was like, about to get myself together. And then after that, I ended up going to court. But in between then, I went to see my kids. So at Safe Haven, I went to visit my kids. So I went there, and when my kids were in the same room, they told me that my kids kept looking at each other, but they didn't say anything to each other because my kids were separated. My youngest son was at Safe Haven. My daughter was with another lady, and then my son was with the Hispanic lady who didn't even speak English. So when I visited my kids, they were happy to see me, y'all. And then when it was time to go, my kids kept asking me like, "Mom, are we gonna go with you?" And as a mother, that shit hurt. Like, you just want to take your babies and just leave with them. You just want to run and just never look back, but you know that it's gonna get you in trouble. You know that you're not gonna win against it. And y'all, my son ran around that room fighting to be with me. My daughter is more so quiet for 1 and 2 years old. She was the type to hold her emotions in. She was just quiet. But my son couldn't handle it. My son Jacob was 10 months old. So, um, so they took my kids, back to the foster parents or whatever. And then after that, that's when the courts was there. I mean, that's when we had another court date. My husband's mom and his dad and, his wife and, they were there, to support him or whatever. And I was just like, I didn't want them in a courtroom because I'm like, this is between, me and my kid's father. But he was just so mean to me. They just wasn't, my whole thing was, you knew I wasn't there. You knew I was at work when this happened to my kids. You told me to come get my kids for you to turn around and call CPS on me. So, I, I didn't say anything to him or whatever. So then we were supposed to have another court date. My mom was supposed to support me. She came up there high, blowed off of weed, and just embarrassed and loud, eyes bloodshot red. And the lady was like, she don't need to come in the courtroom with you. They don't need to see her coming in there. My auntie was walking on the back of her sandals. Just a mess. Just a mess. It was just embarrassing. Like y'all, like I'm telling you. So, I mean, years just went by that I was just trying to get on my feet and do things the right way. And now I'm pregnant by this person who just don't got no respect for me, just constantly putting his hands on me, and we fighting, and I'm just being torn down. And don't nobody got themselves together in my family, and um, yeah, so, that's how I lost my kids. Like, I skipped over a lot, but um, I had people like, females, like, really, I met girls out here through my cousin that I used to hang out with when I first moved out here. And I would, hang out with them sometimes. I never really went out clubbing, but, I went out every now and then. And just started hanging around the wrong people, which was her. and just started doing stuff that I wasn't doing, hanging and chilling with, my other kid's dad, the one that I was pregnant by, and the one that was trying to abuse me, control me, trying to take my money, take my car, um, just a lot, y'all. So it's been 5 years now, 5 years that I've been trying to fight for my kids, and I honestly feel like I know that I'm in the right space. I wasn't as close to God as I was before. I couldn't focus on my life and myself as much as I tried to, because I had all the wrong people around me. Like, my family was just, they just brushed everything under the rug. My brother has never apologized to me about it. My mom only apologizes, when she's tipsy, my aunt and my family just like, oh, when you gonna get your kids? When you gonna get your kids back? When you get your kids, I want to talk to them. I want to see them. But let me tell y'all something. I met these people off of YouTube who I do Bible study with. I found them like in 2018, and I would just do Bible study with them. And when I say, like, I got the best support system right now, even when I want to give up, because my kids, my ex-husband, we don't talk, we don't speak, we don't nothing. And I ain't got nothing against that man. I understand that he hurt. We both hurt each other, in the long run. But there's just certain things that I would have never done, or that I would not have expected to, be done, by him or whatever. And, my other kid's dad will be like, bitch, go get your kids and go get your other kids and tell me I don't love my other two. He tells me I love my other three more than I love my other two. And I just know that be the enemy trying to make me feel like I'm not enough, because sometimes I feel like I be having to prove myself to him. But I'll just be like, how I'm going to prove myself to a man that I seen? I ain't even going to go there. I'll save that for another time. But that man be trying to tear me down. Like, really tear me down. Right now, he don't want to give me my kids, but I have court order that I'm allowed to leave the States with my kids. I got the best support system right now. I ain't never met these people in my life. Never. They've helped me more than my own flesh and blood has helped me. Let me tell y'all, while I didn't have my own kids, I've sent my family money. I've sent, I've helped my mom get her own apartment that she's been at for 2 years now. And then sometimes, like, my aunts and my mom be getting attitudes with me, like, out of nowhere. Or, like, if I need something, it's like, oh, well, you can't get this back. And I'm just like, damn, I ain't got it right now, y'all. Like, I've been dug in a hole. It's a lot that y'all didn't teach me that I'm learning on my own. I learned how to get a job on my own. And I got my mom asking me to help her with applications. But, this is not to just throw nobody under the bus. It's just like, damn, I just want to be a mother to my kids under one roof. I deserve that. I ain't never been no drunk. I ain't never just sat up and smoked weed all day. I don't even smoke weed. I ain't never been no drunk and just sat up and been drunk. And let me tell y'all, my cousin that I was real close to, that didn't have to, could nobody touch her, okay? Could nobody touch her. We get into it, on Facebook or whatever, and we going back and forth with each other, and I just saw how she just dogged me out to one of my homegirls or whatever, saying like, oh, she just want to be like you. She mad because my kids, because my nigga told her, don't, what did she say? She was like, she's mad because my nigga told her, you need to go be with your kids or used to tell her that. This is before my kids had got taken away. So she was referring to that when she said my dude told her, like, go be with your kids. And I swear, y'all, that man ain't never spoke to me like that. Never. He ain't never told me that I needed to go be with my kids. Not even the man that was beat my behind told me that I needed to go be with my kids, because I was always with my kids. Don't get me wrong, I started to slip up and be out more than what I should have, but I always made sure my kids were straight before I left, and that's a fact. But there was times where, I'm not gonna lie, I was just focused on being up under a dude, or not up under a dude, but more so him, like hanging out more than, being with my kids. And that's because I started hanging out and doing stuff that I didn't do before, as a married woman. I had never been to the club. I didn't go out all the time. The first time I went to a club, I was 25, and it was with her. The first time I started, kicking it with dudes, and, she across the room with her dude, and I'm across the room with my kid's dad, and we just, playing, shacking up, and we grown. You feel me? It was just stuff that I wasn't used to, that I'm not gonna lie, I started slipping up, doing what she was doing. It was because I was by myself. My husband he just didn't give a damn. Like, he just didn't give two F's about me and his kids. So, after that, like I said, so anyways, so she was telling her, like, yeah, she want to be you. She think that, she got herself together, acting like she be cooking, and she was like, well, guess what? What did she say? She was like, guess what? I just inboxed her husband and told him that she don't be taking care of the kids. She don't wash them. She let them drink. And she was like, and I inboxed his mom. So she showed me the text message. I still have the text messages to this day. And one day I'm going to show them. It's just, this is my first time, like, actually sharing, like, video-wise. But one day, I seen it. So I went and I fought her, because I don't play when it comes to my kids. I don't care if you're pregnant. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. When it comes to my babies, trust and believe, I'm going to dog you. And any mother should be that way. And I'm just like, damn, like, you gonna write them and tell them that I'm doing this with my kids and doing that. But how many times have you hit around? Sorry, y'all, my phone again. How many times have you been around, you not wanted your kids' dad to know where you live? I never once reached out to your kids' dad, no matter how bad we got into it. And then she started talking about my kids or whatever. I did not bring our kids into it at all. I did not bring up our kids. I didn't write nobody. After she did that, I could have been petty and wrote her kids that and been like, look, this is where she lived, because she didn't want him knowing where she lived. So I could have simply wrote him and told him, like, yeah, she live over here, and she with this dude or whatever. When I tell y'all, my cousin dogged me, and I wasn't expecting her to be like that. We grew up together. Like, we was like this. Like, I'm telling y'all, that was my girl. Like I would have done anything for her. I would have fought anybody for her. But she dogged me out. And this is why I too much don't care for my family. Like, I love my family, but it's just, I had to find people on YouTube, women of God. I got brothers in Christ, sisters in Christ, who is helping me through my process right now as we speak. I never gave up fighting for my kids, ever. I never gave up fighting for my kids. It just took me a long time to get the right people to support me. Because I ain't gonna lie, I couldn't do this shit by myself. I couldn't do it by myself. I was alone. I was scared. I was afraid. And then I'm just like, every time I get up, I fall. Every time. But this time, with God on my side, No weapon formed me shall prosper. And excuse me for cussing because I'm actually trying to change my ways. I ain't never been a type of female to sleep around. I ain't never been a type of female to abandon my kids. Like, I teach my kids. I don't curse at my kids. I love on my kids. I nurture my kids. I'm like I'm not going to say a white mom, but I know I'm not a bad mom. I know I'm not a bad mom. I know, y'all, I want my kids so bad. I've been wanting my kids for a long time. And my time is coming in Jesus' name. And I'm taking everything that Satan took from me. And let me tell y'all, my kid's dad's mom told me that she was gonna fight me to keep my kids until they're of age. And it's just like, why would you want to keep my kids from me? I ain't never did nothing to my babies besides try to be the best for me, because when I did live here and when I did live in Arizona, your son abandoned me and his kids. And I'm not saying he wrong for doing what he doing, because like I said, we was going through something. We was going through something. And our marriage fell apart before we could even enjoy our marriage. But one thing I could say is marriage is a beautiful thing. He used to be my best friend. He was a really good person. I'm not bashing him because he was a good person. He was a good man. He was a provider. He took care of his family. He took care of me. He took care of his kids, even when I didn't have anything. So please don't make it seem like, I'm bashing these people. I'm not. I'm just sharing how I lost my kids and why it took me so long to be in the position to fight for my babies. And people could be so evil and try to keep your kids from you when you want your kids. So women out there, when you see people making posts talking about, because just saying like, women who don't got their kids, don't deserve to speak about this when you don't even know their situation. Not to say I got offended by any, because I didn't get offended by none of those posts, but I know some people do. And sometimes people just speak too fast and just need to mind their business. And instead of trying to tear that person down, bring them up, because you don't know what they went through. But there's some days I wanted to give up. There's some days I just was like, I'm just going to leave my other 3 kids over there, leave my other 2 kids over there, and I'm just not going to fight for them. Because everybody, I felt, I ain't going to say I felt, everybody was against me. Didn't nobody want to see me make it. Nobody want to see me get my kids back.